Hello, this is Governor Martin OMalley. It's been a great honor to join you at the Bio International Convention so many times over the past 8 years. And while I can't make it this year, I wanted to take a moment to say thank you. Thank you to our BioMaryland team for their hard work in making Maryland a global leader. We have a great story to tell. Maryland is home of the human genome and cutting-edge institutions like Johns Hopkins, the University of Maryland, and the National Institutes of Health. From researching new cancer and malaria therapies to creating the first synthetic dividing cell, Maryland's at the forefront of innovation and discovery in healing. In 2007, we pledged to create more jobs and more opportunities in our life science sector, and I'm pleased to say we're making real progress towards that goal. Today, our life sciences community has grown to more than 500 companies that employ upwards of 34,000 people, and the industry itself is now 6% of our state's GDP. In 2015, we expect to hit another important milestone, the halfway mark of our Bio 2020 initiative, a $1.3 billion investment in Maryland's life sciences industry. Through Bio 2020, we're shaping the future of this critical industry for another generation to come. We created the BioMaryland Center as well to unite life sciences resources and businesses in our state. We're commercializing the cutting-edge research coming out of our world-class companies and universities with new grant programs. We created the biotech tax credit to incentivize investments in our emerging companies, and we've developed partnerships with bioclusters in France, Korea, Russia, Israel, and other countries around the globe. In Maryland, we know that job creation is a choice. Progress is a choice. Whether we move forward or whether we slip back, that too is a choice. So I want to thank the BioMaryland team for their dedication to moving this most vital industry forward. You're changing the way we feed, fuel, and heal our planet, and you're creating more jobs and more opportunities for the people of Maryland. Thanks a lot.
Hi, I'm Judy Britz, the Executive Director of the BioMaryland Center, Baltimore, and I'd like to welcome you to Bio International here in San Diego. This year, we're going to be showcasing the innovators from Maryland. This is consistent with the mission of the BioMaryland Center, which is as a connecting organization for all things bio in the state. Whether you're an entrepreneur, a scientist, a federal employee, or you work in a university, if you have an idea, you can work with us to see how you can turn that idea from research to reality to revenues. In 2009, when Governor Martin OMalley was in Bio International in Atlanta, he launched the Bio 2020 plan. At that time, it was a commitment of $1.3 billion over a 10-year period of time. Maryland at that time also was home to over 400 bio companies that employed 28,000 people and had an average compensation of $70,000 a year. Now, here we are as we enter into 2015, about halfway through the Bio 2020 plan. There are over 500 companies that you can pick up in the BioMaryland directory at our booth, and those 500 companies employ more than 34,000 individuals, and they are compensated on average at $91,000 a year. So we know that investing in biotechnology is good economic development policy, and along the way, we're able to feed, fuel, and heal the world. This year in particular, we are showcasing two of our Maryland innovators, Rachel King, who's the CEO of Glycomimetics, and Scott Koenig, the CEO of Macrogenics. Both of these companies went public this year, a great development for the biotechnology industry in the United States. We're also going to recognize some of our younger companies, earlier stage innovators that have received the benefits of some of the BioMaryland Center funding programs.
So Nexim it's really a very, very exciting technology. It's actually a technology platform that's a totally artificial cell that's one of the key cells in the immune system called an antigen presenting cell. Some people know it as a dendritic cell. But essentially what it does is it orchestrates the immune response to essentially any foreign body that isn't supposed to be there in the host's body. So it can be a virus or a bacteria or even a cancer cell. and then it presents the antigens from those in a way that orchestrates the immune response to go and attack and eliminate that foreign substance from the body. So the long-term goal for Nexim is to develop this technology across a number of different therapeutic platforms. It's interesting, you can apply it in cancer where you want to get rid of tumors. You can apply it in infectious disease where you want to get rid of the infecting agent. There's even some biodefense applications. And so we want to build a company that takes advantage of the entire platform across all those product development opportunities, partner with larger companies, raise capital to develop our own pipeline of drugs and products, and ultimately have either a large company or be part of an even larger company who possibly could buy us. The reason we built Nexim in Maryland is pretty natural, actually, from a number of different angles. First of all, it's a Johns Hopkins technology. We have a very close relationship with the scientific co-founders of the company who are at Johns Hopkins Medical School. I'm an entrepreneur that's been involved in the startup of a number of companies in Maryland, and so it was very natural for us to place it here. And also, we think that Maryland is a great place to build biotechnology companies. It's a very supportive environment. The state has a number of programs. The venture capital world is very aware of us. We have larger companies that you can do partnerships with, like MedImmune, now AstraZeneca, a number of companies like that. And so it's just a very good environment, a lot of talent, people coming out of NIH, people coming out of the University of Maryland, etc. There are a number of state programs that are quite friendly to early stage companies like Nexim. We have taken advantage of some of the granting programs. There's a nice series of grants that early stage companies can get if that they can show both that they have the need and that they have an idea that is worthy of funding.
The Harpoon device is for patients with degenerative mitral valve disease. Right now, the norm for treating those patients is open heart surgery. So they have to have a full heart surgery, put on cardiopulmonary bypass. Usually takes about 5 hours in the operating room, 2 days in intensive care, and then another 5 days in the hospital. Our procedure would cut that down to a 1 hour in the operating room on a beating heart, so we don't put you on bypass and go home the next day, cutting out all expensive needs for bypass and intensive care services afterwards. Okay, the way this will work is that the physician will make a small incision. It's called a mini thoracotomy, just below the breast. And the device, this part of the device, the introducer valve, will go into that incision and into the left ventricle of the heart. The device will go into the introducer valve. It'll be followed under echo guidance. So we'll watch it on a screen, the surgeon will watch on a screen, and we would launch what we call is a suture actually into the left ventricle. So the suture material is wrapped around the device. It will get launched into the leaflet of the valve and then tied back off under tension with the patient. So it would be really quick compared to what's done today. 2 million people in the United States have degenerative heart disease, and only 50,000 are getting surgery because of the intensiveness of the surgery today, and they just don't qualify for open heart surgery. So many older Americans that have mitral valve disease that can't go through an open heart procedure, that they're not, because of other illnesses, comorbidities, can't go through open heart. And those patients would all be candidates. Most of those patients will be candidates for this new procedure when we get it ready. So far, the resources are financial, what we found. Being able to get awards through BioMaryland was an award we won from the University of Maryland, TEDCO. We also have very good animal resource centers here to be able to do our early animals trials. We found the resources from the state of Maryland and the community resources for non-dilutive kind of funding. So awards that you can win from the university and from the college, from the state, have been great. We've so far raised almost $550,000 worth of non-dilutive funding to the company through different programs available in the state.
What we basically have is an ability to deliver drugs without having to use needles. We have a magnetic injector that can magnetically deliver drugs to otherwise hard to reach places. So when somebody takes something like an aspirin and the drug goes everywhere in the whole body, that's okay because the aspirins have few side effects. But if you're trying to treat something like an inner ear disease, or you're trying to deliver therapy to the eye, for a lot of the drugs you can't dose the whole body. We need to be able to get the drugs into the right place, and a lot of these places are behind barriers. And so what we have is an ability to magnetically deliver drugs into the inner ear, which would otherwise be behind the blood-brain barrier, into the middle ear to treat middle ear infections, and into the eye. Basically, what we can do is we can deliver drugs into places that are otherwise hard to get to and treat things like sudden sensory neural hearing loss, treat middle ear infections, and treat eye diseases. Our goal is to get the drug approved and to patients. We want to get a technology that can treat diseases that are otherwise difficult to treat. And so our long-term goal is to push the technology through the regulatory process and then get it to patients. We've been really fortunate to be in the state of Maryland. So the state of Maryland has a lot of funding support mechanisms that encourage and foster startup companies. We've gotten support from BioMaryland, we've gotten support from TEDCO, we've gotten support from MIPS. And really, the state of Maryland has made possible the development of the company. And we've leveraged those state of Maryland funds into national awards, and now we're beginning to approach investors. I think the process for starting a company is you know some things and you're missing a lot of other information. And so what you're trying to do is you're trying to find the right people to help you and the right support to sort of bootstrap your way up from something that is in a university to something that actually has commercial potential and can get through a regulatory process. And so, yeah, I mean, absolutely, expertise from all the Maryland agencies, from TEDCO and MIPS and BioMaryland, where just in the sense of them asking the questions that investors will later ask, and them asking the same type of questions we would expect to also get from the FDA, it forces you to think through what you're doing, and that's helpful. And so it's been helpful sort of climbing up the learning process and getting support from the state. I think that's been a very good thing.
So we develop a technology that allows primary care providers, doctors, nurses, physician assistants to prevent blindness in diabetes patients. 1 in 3 diabetes patients will have a vision-threatening condition called diabetic retinopathy. And unfortunately, we don't know which ones of those individuals will have the disease. And so the American Diabetes Association recommends that all diabetes patients receive an annual eye exam. Unfortunately, about 50% of the diabetes patients do not get their annual eye exam, primarily because it requires them to not only go to their primary care doctor, but also go to an ophthalmologist or an optometrist for the exam. And because the technology exists in the eye care environment. We're developing a technology that can be used in a primary care environment, which means we're bringing the technology to the patient rather than requiring the patient to go to the technology. Our technology is a low-cost technology, which allows us to position it in primary care facilities, pharmacies, optometry clinics, where margins are much lower. Our technology was developed by my partner, Abhishek Rege, who was doing his PhD at the Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore. So the technology is spun out of Johns Hopkins. We are both locals, so we're from the area here. But most importantly, the ecosystem in Maryland is really tailored for the development of this type of technology. The BioMaryland Center and the incubator community in Maryland is a really rich place for mentors and access to partnerships in the region that will allow us to build the technology and bring it to market. So our goals for the company is certainly to bring this technology to market to help prevent blindness in diabetes patients. I think the other thing that's worth noting is that we have we're building this technology with in partnership with Johns Hopkins as well as the University of Maryland, Baltimore. We're funded through organizations like TEDCO and the Maryland Industrial Partnerships program, which have been really helpful for us. So we're happy to be in Maryland and developing this technology here in Maryland, and look forward to continuing the partnerships that we have and growing the partnerships in the Maryland region.
We've created a way to modify a standardized blood pressure cuff that, when applied to the arm, measures the way the brachial artery will expand after full relaxation, which is an indication of endothelial dysfunction. Our mission is to hopefully revolutionize the way that cardiovascular disease is identified and ascertained in its earliest stages. Ideally, if I had my way, I'd like to see Cordex replace the blood pressure cuff in virtually every physician's office and hospital in the United States. Michael Witt developed the technology early on as part of his doctoral research some years ago, and he and Dr. Magliato met at Anderson Business School at UCLA. And through a third connection, then Kathy Magliato and I met currently as trustees at Union College in Schenectady, New York. The three of us then got together to put together Cordex Systems, and because of my background here in Maryland, living in Maryland, and also starting several other companies here, we decided to headquarter the company here, which in retrospect was very fortuitous because Maryland, with the number of grant programs and also the number of researchers that are available, really provided us with a springboard to get this company off the ground. We've been fortunate enough to apply for a TEDCO grant, a MIPS grant, and now a BioMaryland grant. We've been awarded all three, and they've been fundamental in helping us to basically develop our technology. Maryland, through its number of programs, with the three programs that I just mentioned, for example, has been instrumental in providing the type of capital that heretofore was available through the venture capital community and has really dried up. They now provide that basis, and so we've been very fortunate to be able to take advantage of that, and I think it bodes well for the future of Maryland.
The immune system is well poised and capable of recognizing and destroying cancer cells. Unfortunately, throughout the course of our life, we develop certain types of mutations that prevent our immune system from efficiently recognizing the cancer. We have developed a genetic platform whereby we can express a receptor on immune cells, which then allows them the capability of recognizing a variety of tumor types. This therapy is capable of not only recognizing one type of cancer, but is actually extendable to treat various types of cancers, thereby impacting a whole broad population of different patients, populations. Our community has been extraordinarily supportive of this technology. It is through initial funding from the Greenbaum Cancer Center and funding from the National Institutes of Health, as well as a recent award from the Life Technology, that has allowed us to continue to pursue and refine the anti-tag CAR technology. What I'd like to highlight to students is that there are various opportunities here at the University of Maryland and beyond within the Maryland area. We have a great amount of resources, not only at this university, but at several other medical institutions. What I encourage my students to think about is what is the need for our patient population, and to think beyond what they think is truly capable. There are various resources, not only as scientists, as clinicians, but also as in pharmacy and other biotechnologies.
Pass Sensors is an environmental testing company. We use technology that was invented by MIT Lincoln Labs. We have the exclusive license to it. It's as simple as a person walking into the room, and if you know a person's in the room, you turn on the light switch, the room is bright. If there's nobody in the room, the light switches off, it's dark. Same thing with pathogen identification, which is what we do. If the bug we're looking for, a bug being either a bacteria, virus, or a toxin, is present, and it comes into the contact with the biosensors that we make, the biosensor glows. If the bug that we're looking for is not present, the biosensor stays dark. Very simple, very complicated technology, but very simple in how it works. The products that we have in the market today protect government buildings against biological attack. The technology is very sensitive and very fast. It allows the first responders to be aware that a biological substance has been released, and within minutes respond with the appropriate countermeasures in that building to keep people that are located there safe. So Path Sensors is located in Baltimore, Maryland. We started the company in 2011. We moved to Baltimore because of the availability of skilled, talented people. University of Maryland and Johns Hopkins are here that produce master's and PhD level scientists. Plus we have Baltimore City Community College across the street that graduates associate's degree bioscience people. And the Biotech Institute in Fells Point produces trade school level bioscience resources that we can use for manufacturing our products. The state of Maryland has been one of the really significant supporters for Path Sensors since we started the company. We've had we're blessed by the Maryland Venture Fund making a early stage investment in the company as we're getting it started. We have received funding from the Maryland Biotech Center that allowed us to develop a new biosensor product that we're launching in the poultry industry. And besides the financial resources that are available, the number of biotech companies and life science related university research organizations that are available for us to partner with is a fantastic opportunity for us.
Greatbug are a new ophthalmic pharmaceutical company where we're developing new innovative ocular drug delivery systems to treat blinding diseases. There's a major market need for an advancement of therapeutics and for extended release delivery of small to large molecules. Greatbug are ready to capitalise on these opportunities and take advantage of a market that's now more than $20 billion. Blinding diseases are really a terrible scourge in the world today. What Greatbug can do is advance drug delivery technologies to better deliver key drugs that can treat diseases like macular degeneration and glaucoma. In particular, we believe we're able to deliver extended release proteins, which can also be of tremendous benefit to patients with several different kinds of blinding diseases, like retina diseases, for instance. Well, Greatbug were founded at the end of 2011, and really it's a Baltimore-based company. We've been very fortunate in first of all taking advantages of the investment community here. All our investment has come from Baltimore, Maryland, or from the state of Maryland. So this has been tremendous value to get Greatbug really established. I think secondly, invest in Maryland with the introduction of Greatbug into the life science community. We've had tremendous support, not only to spread the Greatbug name, but also definitely to use the various resources, including, I'll go back to some of the investment resources that are really on offer to many of the startup companies here. And I think third, just being based within the Johns Hopkins University campus and within the OMalley Institute is really, again, of tremendous value to Greatbug, because the OMalley Institute in Hopkins is clearly recognised worldwide as a pioneering centre of excellence in the area of ophthalmology. So in many different ways, Greatbug really is truly very fortunate to be based here in Baltimore. So really, Greatbug has got two goals. One is to take our drug delivery technology, our proprietary technology, and to create partnerships with many of the world's leading ophthalmic companies to better deliver their drug These companies have their own pharmaceuticals, but they don't have the means, they don't have the technology to deliver their drug for perhaps 3-4 months or even more. So that's a really key part of the Greatbug plan, to create these worldwide partnerships with some of the leading companies in the world. The second part of our plan is really to take our own technology and match it with our own pharmaceutical, and then to also then build potential partnerships with that approach as well. So with that, and it's really important that we are seen as a Baltimore-based company, as a Maryland-based company, because it truly attracts, I think, interest from around the world, because it is a centre of excellence, and it's really renowned for, as I say, for its pioneering efforts in the areas that we treat of blindness, like macular degeneration, like glaucoma, and even diabetic eye disease as well. Sure, I mean, there are clearly many areas across the country where you can establish a life science business. To me, it's all down to the support that you're going to receive. And so far, there's support that Greatbug has received. And again, the investment that has come into Greatbug from the local community has really been absolutely first class. And I think we'd be very pushed, really, to have had any better support anywhere else in the country. There's also a tremendous amount of interest in the community towards the startups. The fact that I'm even talking to you today just shows the level of interest that Baltimore, Maryland has in its whole life science community. There's a real desire and need to see these companies succeed. Just a few weeks ago, we attended several meetings that were set up by BioMaryland to meet some of the major companies, some of the contacts we hadn't even met before. So there's a very proactive attitude in Maryland, and it's something that really works very well for Greatbug.